Also, if you come to Newfoundland and you're in the Bonavista Vista area, really like to have you drop by. And if there's a technique you want me to, if I'm here at the time and there's a technique you want me to demonstrate to you while you're at the studio, I will be happy to do that. I've done that for many people that have dropped by. Done little demonstrations, or did they have questions or whatever, I'm quite happy to answer them. I'm located in Lethbridge, which is on the Bonavista Peninsula, from the Trans-Canada Highway in Newfoundland, going east. Well, actually, it's west of St. John's, if you're coming that direction. And you go down the Bonavista Peninsula for about 20 minutes, and off the highway about maybe half a kilometer, eighth of a mile maybe, from the main highway there, going to Bonavista. Lots of people dropping by. So you're welcome to drop by and visit us. Okay, now this here, a bit darker here, and I'm going to bring that in, put in a few little dark spots here, make that kind of rounded. Okay, now I'm going to take some, this is yellow, is a really heavy, it's called New Gamboge. I love it, it's great color. And this will give a little bit of yellow in there. And this will kind of make it look a natural color. Notice I'm not just painting it all, I'm doing little dots. That gives the illusion of real detailed work when it's done. There's still a little bit of blending that happens with the wet watercolor on the paper, but the little dots kind of just gives it a nice blend. When I get the rest done, this will look quite nice. So that is how I do leaves, and I will continue on with the rest of these here. And one other thing I want to just point out, my paintings, a lot of people comment on the detail in the paintings, so I do try to accomplish try to get as much detail as possible in my paintings, but sometimes the detail is a little bit of an illusion. In that, say for example, here, there's just a bunch of leaves going, or twigs and stuff going everywhere. So what I normally do is I don't make sure I don't cover any of those larger lines, which these have to be cleaned up later here. But what I do normally is I will just kind of do this. It looks kind of just all messy. But when you do this over a couple of different shades, it really gives the illusion that there's a lot in there. So, see how I'm doing that? Just little dots. And then I will take this off to the side here, but I will get some black and Payne's gray mix. So I'll get a really dark color here. And I will just kind of put some basically dots in there. And when this fits into the rest of the painting, so when that dries, what I'll do is I'll go over it with a wash of whatever color. So this here is a shadow to my twig here for this one right here. And I know there's a line there. I'll just do some of this. I know there's a leaf there, so you notice that this twig here kind of appeared because I painted around it. That's something called negative painting. That is, you paint what's behind the twig and just leave it, and it looks like there's a twig there. So later on we'll put a little bit of a shade, probably some Winsor blue. I try not to leave things totally white on the paper. Even the highlights, I will take a little bit of Winsor blue and just put a little bit over and it really gives a nice, I guess, makes it look realistic looking. So here, for example, put a little bit of blue there, and it kind of Gives a little bit of a texture to the shape, to those little twigs. When this gets in context of the whole painting, this will actually look kind of detailed. So now I can take a little bit of yellow and green, kind of it's dry, a little bit of yellow green, a lighter color. So it's a really yellowish green color. I can just paint over that. Not scrubbing, just barely touching it because you don't want to pick up the colors from the back. And now we look like we have a whole lot of vegetation going on behind there. Now that's not really in the photograph, but you can play with it a little bit and you actually get some really good effects that way. So here, for example, if I put in a few, just get some of this color here and just some dots like that. There's nothing really detailed there, but the dots give the illusion that it's really detailed. Along here, for example. That's how I achieve some of the, what looks like a lot of detail in my paintings. It's not to say there's not a lot of detail, it's just sometimes you achieve that effect without having to paint in every little thing. In fact, it would just drive you nuts. So I do this for enjoyment. I just really enjoy doing it. So it's not, I'm not trying to impress anyone or anything like that. I'm just enjoying painting. So there are some leaves, and I will carry on painting here, and we will pick up again later in another video. Thanks for joining me.